The date today is February 10, 2014. The time is 5:30 p.m. This is the meeting of the Paris City Council. I'm going to call the meeting to order. I will first ask Pastor Bush to lead us in the invocation, followed by Pledge of Allegiance by Dr. Grosnickle. If I could ask everyone to please stand.
Before praying to God to bless our proceedings tonight, I feel under moral obligation to thank and affirm our City Council for recognizing the lethal danger to public health inherent in and contradictory to individual freedom by allowing individuals to smoke in public buildings, any more than allowing individuals to exercise their freedom and necessity to urinate to do so in a public swimming pool. Let us pray. We thank you, Almighty God, for judgment as exercised in public forums to be freely expressed and debated. Guide us here and now to do just that for the sake of us all, both living and prematurely dead, due to once unknown but now universally acknowledged health dangers. In this and all our deliberations, bless us, Lord. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before I start, I want to make a comment, please. Let everyone talk, and I don't want any kind of disturbance in this, applause or any other kind. So please respect the council and let others talk, whether you like their ideas or don't like their ideas. With that said, the next item is the Citizens Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. The Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city, council members, or employees, as well as individual personal appeals, are not appropriate for the Citizens Forum. The Citizens Forum is now open. If you want to address, please come forward, write your name and address for the record. Since there are a lot of people wanting to talk today, I'm going to strictly abide by the 2-minute principle, and we will stop the person at that point. Otherwise, the mic will be cut off.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to address the council. My name is Jane Hellberg, and I'm a citizen of Paris, Texas. But I'm a parasite. I'm not a Parisian, so I'm told. But this is my home, and I would like to address you because I know there's a lot of feelings as far as the no smoking is concerned, but it is a health issue, very much a health issue. But I'd like to speak to it from a personal standpoint, not a health standpoint, which it is a health standpoint for me. When I was 32 years of age, I was diagnosed as having squamous cell carcinoma of the throat, which is a smoker's lesion. I have never smoked a day in my life, ever. I got smoke from other people. I don't care if anybody smokes anywhere they want to, as long as I'm not there. Because I take your smoke in, and I did, and I paid crucially for it. I have a scar going down my neck where they operated on me to take lesions out and to take nodes out. To this day, I live with residual effects of having a cancer that I didn't have to have. Now, my dad did smoke, and if my dad was here today, he would cry that he gave me a serious illness and disease that I had to fight to live. So please take that into consideration. Again, I don't care if anybody smokes, it's your choice. But I don't want your choice to affect me. God bless you.
Thank you very much. If I can please ask, can we please stop that? If I can please ask people who want to smoke, who want to not people who want to speak about smoking or against smoking, if they can please wait till the the item comes on the agenda, it is a public hearing, so you can talk at that time. So anyone who wants to speak on other things besides smoking, they can please come up and address the Citizens Forum.
Thank you for this opportunity. And to the council, I want to say thank you for your service. We appreciate your time and interest in our community. I'm James Alcorn. I live at 870 41st Southeast with my wife Cindy. We raised 3 daughters in this community. I'm retired from the Department of Agriculture. We have a little business downtown. We want the city to grow. We want it to be a clean place to live where we can have people raise families, have good jobs and things to do here. But I'm confused by some signals I have seen coming from the City Hall. The Paris News in yesterday's front page headline story states that the council doesn't want Dr. and Mrs. Swint's Lake Crook renovation donation. Also, previous newspaper head articles from the past that I've read indicate the council intends to sell Lake Crook for development to some undisclosed party. I'm all for jobs and city growth, but I think selling Lake Crook is not the way to accomplish that. The mayor is quoted in this article. I feel if we agree to this, we are committing all future councils to his regulations, end quote. A previous council tried to sell our water in Lake Crook and Lake Pack Maze, and that was a bad idea. I think if you try to sell Lake Crook, you're committing future councils to yet another bad idea. The bottom line, if you want to sell Lake Crook, you need to put the issue to the citizens for a public vote. The lake belongs to the citizens, not the council. It's not a worn-out garbage truck that you're trying to get rid of. It's a jewel in the rough. It needs to be restored and preserved as a draw for tourism, to attract industry, and to improve the quality of life for everyone in this area. It seems to me you need to put a group of citizens together that are concerned, that have an interest in it, and let them work to rejuvenate the property.
Mr.
With
The time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and speaking.
Go ahead.
I'm Carol Huffnagel, 720 Bunker Street. My little talk is also about Lake Crook. Most of our family, which was about 40 members, gathered at the Hugo Lake Cabins for 3 days and 2 nights between Christmas and New Year's. The gathering was wonderful, and it was a toss-up of who enjoyed it more, the adults or grandchildren. To shorten the point, with cabin rentals, food, beverages, supplies, fuel fill-ups, etc., we left a bundle of money in that area. Then we drove to Paris for church services, restocked on supplies, and some of the grandkids wanted to eat sandwiches from a restaurant of which they were not familiar. Many of our kids and grandkids came from other states. Again, dollars spent. The vehicles at the cabins at Hugo Lake indicated people from many different states there, which really surprised me. I really feel that if Lake Crook was developed with cabins and fishing, boating, hiking, bicycling, et cetera, and other things that some of the lake areas offer, I think it could be a gold mine for Lamar County. As we departed, unknown to us, our kids went down and booked the lodge for this next Christmas and New Year's. For next year, they were so impressed. But I just think it could really bring a lot of money into Lamar County if that was developed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Huffnagel.
My name is Jackie Alsabrook. I live at 4135 Misty Lane, and I speak in opposition to any sale of Lake Crook. As a child growing up, we had family gatherings at Lake Crook. As a teenager, we county kids danced on the pavilion. I would like to thank Richard and Susan Swint for their generous donation. But please don't sell Lake Crook. If this Dallas consortium, which has bought Hugo Lake, by the way, succeeds somehow in getting Pat Nace Lake, We may need it for water, but we definitely need the city to keep it. I would like to commit future councils not to sell Lake Crook. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Alsabrook, thank you for coming actually today. I know it's hard for you to come, but so appreciate you coming today.
Good afternoon. My name is Troy Jones Jr. I reside at 609 West Sherman here in Paris, Texas, and I am also opposed to any selling of Lake Crook. If the council would like to have Lake Crook developed, lease the property to the developers for a set term of time, but keep that property and still have the income and have that as a major park for City of Paris. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
My name's Billy Parr. I live at 938 County Road 31700, which is a Lake Crook Road. I probably live closer to the lake than almost anybody. I've been there almost, a little over 70 years. That's still in my age, but anyway, at one time that was a beautiful place, and it's potentially could be again. All it needs is a little work, a little cleaning up, a little fixing up. And we spend money for everything else. I think that would be a good way to develop another place for people to go. It could be a nature walk, nature drive. There's part of that lake that's not even open to the public as far as driving around it. There's a road that stops at the second boat ramp, and that could be reopened and fixed up so you could go around it. But right now it's closed. I think it needs to be opened up and cleaned up. And there's a lot of potential there. And let's don't let it go to waste. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
My name is Enid Shanahan. In the early 70s through the early 90s, I was in Fredericksburg, Texas quite a bit. And it's at the time, the population was about 5,000. And I'm sure a lot of people here are familiar with Fredericksburg. And it's a beautiful place in the hill country. And when I first started there were like 3 restaurants when I was first in Fredericksburg. And what the city did there is they had thousands and thousands and thousands of volunteer hours from the citizens of Fredericksburg. And so I think with the Lake Crook being here, it's just a given to me that the city would want to enhance the area by keeping Lake Crook. It's such a wonderful thing for us to have in this area. And I just hope that that does happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Anna Spencer. I live at 1710 34th Street Northeast. I want to tell you that I am not in favor of either the sale or the lease of any property around Lake Crook. And I remind you of a survey that the city did, I believe it was last August. And that survey was to get the feeling of the citizens of Paris about parks and things of that nature. And according to the Paris News, the high percent of those people wanted parks. And we already have a park out there. All we have to do is clean it up, maintain those roads, open the roads up where we can get to the park, and do some work. And I'm just asking that you not, if you've already made decisions on doing the sale, rescind that vote and keep that park. Thank you.
Just so for your clarification, there is nothing like that done so far.
Dr. Robert Mosley in Paris, Texas, live at 3915 Shannon Drive. Longtime resident of Paris, and I have lots of memories of Lake Crook. My family actually had the jukebox at the lodge there, and I remember as a young kid, my sister told me about the swing set that used to go over into the lake. So, and we were the first citizens to do water skiing and the ramp and stuff out there at Lake Crook. I feel like the lake could actually have a nicer resort than when I was a kid, and I would like to see the different options that's available to the lake, and then I think the citizens have the right to vote on what the end result will be for that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Dr. Mosley. Anybody else wanting to speak?
Sheila Daughtry, 3910 Brandon Place. I've been a resident of Paris for 60 years and have worked with the youth here in the schools. I strongly feel that Lake Crook is a natural resource that our area needs to be very, very proud of that we have. And the land, the trees, the wildlife, the lake itself could be developed for families, Boy Scouts, any other youth groups that there could possibly be, the elderly, the trails that we could have, the hiking that could take place there, the fishing, the picnics. Is just phenomenal if it were developed for the citizens of this county. Look at it like Humpty Dumpty. If we destroy that, it'll be gone. It's not going to be coming back. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wanting to speak in the Citizens Forum? Okay. The Citizens Forum is now closed. We'll proceed to the next item, which is proclamation declaring the month of February as the Operation Save Your Skin. Whereas skin cancer is the most common form of cancer in the United States, according to the Texas Medical Association, 1 in 3 Texans are diagnosed with skin cancer. And according to the American Cancer Society, more than 3.5 million of cases of skin cancer are diagnosed annually in the United States. According to the Skin Cancer Foundation, each year there are more new cases of skin cancer than for breast, prostate, lung, and colon cancers combined. According to the Prevent Cancer Foundation, skin cancer is the most common yet most preventable form of cancer, and Operation Save Your Skin held an annual free public skin cancer screening at Texas Oncology Paris for the citizens of Lamar County. Whereas Operation Save Your Skin is installing ultraviolet indicator stations on school playgrounds of Lamar County to designate and forecast of the expected risk of exposure to ultraviolet radiation from the sun, Save Your Skin conducted a survey given to 252 citizens of Lamar County, which indicated the crucial need of more awareness regarding skin cancer in Lamar County. Operation Save Your Skin has initiated a Sun Hat for Children's program for elementary school children to be protected from the sun when playing outside. Operation Save Your Skin continues to provide education regarding the prevention of skin cancer to the city of Paris and Lamar County as a whole. Now therefore be it resolved that I, A.J. Hashmi, Mayor of the City of Paris, Texas, hereby declare the month of February as Operation Save the Skin. That was Ms. Prakash receiving the proclamation. The next proclamation is for the Boy Scout. Whereas Boy Scouts of America was established on February 8, 1910, and has for over 100 years created a strong foundation of leadership, service, and community for millions of American youth, the program of Boy Scouts of America builds character, trains in responsibility, participates in citizenship, and develops personal fitness. And every rank advancement or badge achievement recognizes new challenges, new adventures, and new friends for Scouts. And for all those, including friends and family who accompany the Scouts along with the path, and Scouts continue to demonstrate citizenship and leadership skills as adults in all fields, including business, education, and government. Scouting values provide confidence to make ethical choices and realize full potential as citizens. The Boy Scouts of America counts millions of friends and family and Scouts among the alumni who share lifetime values and lifetime memories. Whereas the local Netzio Trails Council has provided an exemplary program for local scouting since 1929, and Scouting celebrates its legacy and reaffirms the commitment to inspire and prepare future generations. Now therefore, I, A.J. Hashmi, Mayor on behalf of the City of Paris, Texas, proclaim that the Boy Scouts of America and its local council and PACs, as well as their leaders and sponsoring organization, are honored in the month of February for making a difference in and about the City of Paris through dedication to Scouting, core values of leadership, character, community service, achievement, and stewardship of the environment. If all of you can say your names, I'm going to come up front.
Campbell, Chris Kirby, Stephen Beggs,
River Brown.
The next proclamation is declaring the month of February as Operation Tobacco No. Whereas according to the U.S. Surgeon General's Report 2006, tobacco use remains the leading cause of preventable disease and death in the United States. According to the U.S. Surgeon General's report, in 2006, approximately 88 million non-smoking Americans are exposed to the dangers of secondhand smoke in their homes, workplaces, and public places. According to the United Health Foundation, tobacco costs the U.S. more than $98 billion in healthcare expenditure and $97 billion in lost productivity each year. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, secondhand smoke exposure causes lung cancer and cardiovascular and respiratory diseases in non-smoking adults and children, resulting in an estimated 46,000 heart disease deaths and 34,000 lung cancer deaths amongst U.S. non-smoking adults each year. According to the FDA Commissioner, Margaret Hamburg, she urged that the FDA to regulate e-cigarette industry in warning that they are tempting kids with e-cigarette manufacturers, sweet flavors, cartoon images, and television advertising promoting e-cigarettes use as attractive. And according to the Texas Medical Association, approximately 24,000 Texas adults die each year of non-smoking related illnesses. And according to the Texas Department of State and Health Services, health statistics, 26% of Lamar County adults smoke compared to 18% from the rest of the state. Whereas 97% of Crockett Intermediate School students say they want to eat in non-smoking facilities for their health, and 85% of citizens polled in the Holiday in Paris venue want to eat in non-smoking restaurants, whereas the Operation Tobacco No continues to provide education regarding the dangers of all tobacco products to Lamar County as a whole. And now therefore be it resolved that I, A.J. Hashmi, Mayor of the City of Paris, Texas, hereby proclaim the month of February to be Operation Tobacco No. If all of you can state your names too, please.
Taylor White, Caitlin Hutchins,
Gavin Holge,
Evan Nella Garza, James Miller, Ben Lassiter, Sydney Walton, Kelly Strickland, Brianna Rogers.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Anyone on the council has any questions on the consent agenda? Mr. Wright?
No question.
Mr. Jenkins?
No questions.
Ms. Lancaster?
No questions.
Dr. Grossnickel?
Nothing.
Mr. Frierson?
No, sir.
Ms. Drake?
No questions.
Can I have a motion on this item, please?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Motion carries. Next, we move to the regular agenda. Item number 9 is discuss Lake Crook development with regards to terms and condition of the Dr. Swin's donation. I have put this item on the agenda, and I just want to read a few words. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to thank Dr. and Mrs. Swint for their generous donation to the development of Lake Crook Parks. Donations of this magnitude do not come every day, and I am proud of the fact that a citizen has stepped forward and showed interest not only by contributing financially, but also has shown keen interest in protecting the rights of the people of this community. I have put this item on the agenda so that everyone on the council fully understands the limitations of this donation and that we make an informed judgment. Development of Lake Crook Park has been the desire of all in the community. How to develop it and what is best suited for our community remains to be determined. On the one hand, we want to protect this beautiful lake and surroundings for all our future generations to come and enjoy. On the other hand, we are faced by years of non-development with no plans of its rejuvenation and not having enough funds to really develop and utilize this property to the fullest extent. It has been the policy of this council to be open, transparent, and accountable for its acts, and for that reason, I am proud to say that we have been very successful as a council, more than many other councils in the past. be it the issue with dilapidated homes or the issue of conducting a successful bond election, or for that matter, PEDC and its expenses. I'm proud to say that we have made judgments with the support of the community, and that is why we have been successful. And it is my assurance that this will remain the goal of this council in all future decisions, be it about the property at Lake Crook or at the airport, since they are both city-owned properties. We did not have enough time to pass the letter that Dr. Swint had written to all the council members before. So the purpose of this was to make sure that all the council members were aware of it, and the city attorney had given his advice on the letter. The donation is not being refused at all, and I want to assure everyone that no decision on Lake Crook has been done other than certain portions which have been passed. But again, the sale of Lake Crook or the public property at the airport, no decision by the council has been made on that. So with that said, Dr. Swint had requested to speak. He is on the agenda for next council meeting to come and speak. I'd like all the council members to read the letter, the city attorney to give his advice, and then we will discuss this next time after Dr. Swint has spoken. So with that, we move to item number 10, which is discuss and act on a resolution approving amendments to the Paris Economic Development Council. First of all, I need a motion to untable this item.
I make a motion we untable this item.
Second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Last time, Ms. Barentine had brought some papers. Ms. Barentine, please explain if there's any difference, and I'm going to ask Mr. Wright, who has attended the last meeting, to please explain.
The only changes that I know of are changing it from the Tax Abatement Committee to the Tax Abatement Advisory Committee. And we did have a meeting February 7th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and in attendance was John Godwin, City Manager, Chuck Superville, Lamar County Judge, Pam Anglin, President, PJC, Jerry Patton, Chief Appraiser, John Wright, Councilman, Sue Lancaster, Councilman, Kent McKillier, City Attorney, and myself. Discussion amongst the advisory committee was that I think you got an email from Kent, so I'm just going to read that the committee wants to clarify to the City Council, County Commissioners, and PJC Board of Regents that the committee's job is to perform initial review and analysis of tax abatement applications received by PEDC and make recommendations to the governing bodies of the 3 local taxing entities for final decision. Therefore, they are changing the committee name to the Tax Abatement Advisory Committee. The committee plans to get involved early in the tax abatement review process, conduct their analysis, and make their recommendation to the local taxing jurisdictions and solicit their support before extending offers to businesses requesting a tax abatement. This should alleviate any past communication problems between the PEDC and the taxing jurisdictions regarding new tax abatement offers.
Thank you. Mr. Wright, any comments?
The only thing I would add to that is that this procedure will be reviewed in 1 year, and the voting members on this committee will be the taxing entities, that being PJC, President, the county judge, and the city manager, or their delegate.
Is that a change from before?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do any of the council members have any questions? Ms. Drake?
No, I like these changes.
Mr. Frierson?
I don't have any questions at this time. No.
Any comments?
Yes, actually, I'm curious to see the shape that's taking. Shannon, I do have a question. Has this gone before any of the other boards, PJC or
Not in this form, no. But they were all in agreement that this wording they would agree and support.
Okay. That's all for me right now.
Dr. Grossnickel?
No questions.
Ms. Lancaster?
No questions.
Mr. Jenkins?
Yes, sir. No questions.
Mr. Wright does not, and I have no questions on this. From the council members who attended the meeting, are you in support of what is being done?
I am.
Ms. Lancaster?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion then to approve it. Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Frierson has opposed. All right, item number 11. Item number 11 is conduct a public hearing and discuss and act on ordinance amending in its entirety Article 3 smoking regulation of Chapter 17 of Code of Ordinances. So now it is open. Anyone who wants to speak is most welcome to come and speak. Mr. McKee.
Dr. Ashby. My wife said hi. I know it's not the best policy for everybody to smoke, but this is America. We do still have the freedom, and that's what we're all debating here. It's not whether it's healthy. I feel sorry for the people that get to secondhand smoke, but there are places that you can go. You don't have to come in places that do smoke. We feel like we have the right to upend, at least talk to you. We will go by the law, whatever it may be, whatever y'all decide. But we feel like we have the right to say, hey, this is ours. We pay taxes on it, and we ought to have the decision. Thank you.
Tell her I said hi too. Can I please request to hold the applause?
My name is Ashley Mattoon. Do you need my address?
Yes,
or
please.
just 3505 Audubon. I believe in individual freedoms. I also appreciate our community, our commitment to community. And as a community, we often limit our individual freedoms so we can all live together. We ask people to put their cell phones down in a school zone. We ask you to obey the handicap parking when you pull into a grocery store. We do these so we can live together. I want to say on a personal note, I think it is heartwarming that we have got to see what the generation behind us wants their community to look like. I am very much for this new smoking ordinance, and I appreciate y'all taking your consideration and looking at it, and I appreciate the schools and the doctors and the rest of the community who's brought this together. So thank you.
Mayor and City Council men and women. My name's James Stallings, and I live at 1330 25th Street Northeast. Been a non-smoker since 1982 when I got smart. But I don't think that we have the right to tell a business whether or not you can smoke there or not. I don't go to McKee's, and I don't go to Ward's, and I didn't go to the West Side Cafe. I went, I could go to Denny's. I go someplace where they don't smoke. That's my choice. And I think sometimes we overstep our boundary in what we do. I know this is about as popular as me saying I'm Saddam Hussein, but nevertheless, I would certainly think twice. And I know Dr. Motter's not going to like this, but nevertheless, that's my belief, and I think you ought to consider this real closely before you vote this ordinance in.
Thank you very much for coming. Now, I've repeatedly requested to hold the applause. If people will not follow the rules, I'm going to have them escorted out.
I'm Elizabeth Anderson. I live at 2036 Cleveland Street. There's restaurants all around town. There's some smoking and non-smoking. I go to the ones that smoke. It's our choice to do that. It's our choice to go to a bar, have a little drink, smoke. But you are trying to take that all away from us. We live in America. We don't have this like in Russia. We're not in Russia. We're in Paris, Texas. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Ms. Van Dever?
My name is Vicki Horn. I live at 215 33rd Southeast, Paris, Texas. I stated last month that I'm very much for this ordinance to limit the smokers. Due to the simple fact, stop and think a minute. Did we not just a few minutes ago salute to the flag saying we want liberty and justice for all? do you call destroying the health and well-being of others because a smoker does not give a hoot about himself? Is that justice? If a smoker wants to smoke, let him smoke. But when you allow them to blow smoke and destroy the health of others just because he doesn't give a hoot about his own health, is that justice? I think it's time we take a stand for all Americans and look out for others as well.
Thank you very much. Whoever comes to speak, if they can please get the mics close to them so that everyone can hear.
Hi, my name is Marilyn Menifee. I live at 3402 Clarksville Street. I am the widow of a man who was a veteran. He was in World War II, the Korean War, and did 2 terms in Vietnam. He fought so that the United States of America could keep its freedom. And I know y'all are probably going to do what you want to do, but there are 2 sides to every story. Please consider us that do smoke. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Brenda Benson, 1107 East Polk, Paris. And I have the Sunset Lounge, and 90% of mine are smokers. And the ones that don't have a problem with it. I think it should be our right whether we allow them to smoke or not in a bar. We are private, and they have to buy a membership to get in. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is David Collier. I live at 4655 Deerhaven. I'm in favor of the smoking ordinance, and I'd love for the paper's headlines tomorrow says, City Council saves lives.
Thank you very much.
My name is Mark Rothfuss. I live at 2810 Willow Bend, Paris, Texas. My personal story is I had a heart attack in 2008. I was an avid cigar smoker, and while I was lying on the table in front of Dr. Hashmi, he gave me a choice, stop or die. I stopped, and I'm still here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jamie Haley. I live at 335 31st Southwest, Paris, Texas. I was born and raised here in Paris, Texas. And 4 years ago, I was introduced to technique vaping, and I had gotten very, very sick from smoking. I was introduced to vaping. I have been vaping ever since. I have not been sick one time. My daughter, that is now 11, since the day she was born, I didn't believe the doctors that they told me at Children's Hospital that the nicotine was even on my skin. And I would even wear a certain coat that I would go outside and smoke in, and it would even go through the coat. Every year around February, we would end up back at Children's Hospital, and I would be telling them I don't smoke around her, I don't any of these things. You know, I wear the coat like they had advised me to do. My daughter has now 4 years not been sick, not one time. We do not go into smoking places. I do vape, not directly in front of her, but I do vape. I vape in my vehicle. I have a vape store here in town. But I wouldn't think that if you'd asked me 4 years ago, I'd been so against this. But now that I've seen, since I've quit smoking, the difference in me and my family and everyone that's around me and the sickness, I would have to honestly say I am for the smoking, not smoking in public places. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Robin White.
and I live at 519 County Road 32505 in Paris. And I just wanted to say my husband and I just moved here 2 years ago from Austin, where this is a non-issue, because they went through this years ago, and there was objection and it was controversial. But the city passed the non-smoking ordinance, and now it's just an accepted way of life in Austin. It's just handled, it's done, it's in the past, and anywhere you go, there's not smoking, and you just accept it. So when we moved to Paris and we walked into our first restaurant, we nearly keeled over. It was such a shock, because in Austin, it just doesn't happen. And once you get past this, if you have the courage to go ahead and pass this, within months, it just becomes the accepted way of life. And then when you go somewhere that doesn't have a smoking ordinance, it just takes you back. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Deborah McLemore. I live at 2775 41st Street Southeast. I grew up in a home where my mother and father both smoked. We were 4 girls in the car, cigarette smoke just going all over the place, the house. We had to clean the house as we got older, little chores. You take a wet paper towel across the mirror, across the picture glass, the frame of the picture. You'll see yellow stuff. All that stuff is going in your lungs. You smell like it. We went to school, we could smell it on us, and now that I work in a clinic, the people that come in with third-hand smoke on them, they reek. It smells nasty. You go to church, they think you don't, if people don't know that they smoke, they're reeking as they sit next to you in the pew, down from you, but the smell of it's horrendous. Yes, if you want to have a restaurant and allow smokers, that's fine. A club, that's fine. But take it off the sports complex where we all go, watch our grandchildren, our children, and we're inhaling all this smoke as it drifts. There's people with medical conditions that can just go into exacerbations, life-threatening. I just really am in favor of this non-smoking ordinance.
Thank you.
My name is Terry Wilson. I live 947 Connor. I'm against this wholeheartedly for 2 reasons.
Sir, explain. Against the ban or
I'm against the ban.
Okay.
I keep hearing people say that smoking's the only thing that affects other people. I have to be careful going into Walmart because I've got food allergies. I have to go in the opposite ways, send my girlfriend the other way to get what I want. Because if I get around a strawberry, I got to start taking medicine quick. Otherwise, I wind up in the ER. I went into service to defend other people's rights, and I don't think it's right you trying to take one of mine away from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm Caitlin Hutchins, and I live at 6065 County Road 42600. And I think it would be a good idea to pass this ordinance because we are the future of Paris, and we don't want to grow up in a smoky, dirty city. Because if we grow up and we have lung problems, then it affects our children and the future generation after us, and it's just not good. So.
Thank you, Caitlin.
My name is Kelly Strickland, and I reside at 3420 Clement Road, Paris, Texas. And I agree with Caitlin. I think this ordinance would be a very good thing for the city of Paris, for the adults and the children our age. Like we all said, we are the future of Paris. And I think that this would be a fabulous thing for the city so that we won't grow up and our health will be fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi,
Hi, my name is Philip Shadwell. I own a vape.
Mr. Shadwell, could you just pull the mic up a little? Thank you.
I own a vape store in Paris here, and I was wondering, is electronic cigarettes included in this ban?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm very much opposed to it. I mean, how can I conduct business when I can't let my customers try their product before they buy? That's directly going to affect my business and your taxes that come into this community.
Thank you very much.
My name is Jeanette Renfro. I do smoke. I'm against the ban. If y'all are so against smoking, think of Kimberly Clark, the smoke out there. Campbell Soup, you're exhausted. So don't just ban restaurants, places. You can do this place. Places where you go play football, baseball. But you're taking my right away. I am USA, not Russia, not Japan. Think about it.
Thank you. Dr. Graves?
Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Steve Graves. I'm a physician here in town, and there's been a lot of talk about an ordinance, and I have yet to see anything actually written down, so I don't know what we're talking about exactly. So until there's an actionable, I don't think you can have an actionable item until you actually have some written proposal of what the ordinance will be. But I think that the most important thing to consider is that we're having a debate here over whether public health issues outweigh personal property issues and individual liberty issues. Contrary to what a lot of people proclaim, I've, as I mentioned last time, I read the Surgeon General's report about secondhand smoking, and it's the evidence that secondhand smoking is dangerous, period, regardless of the amount of exposure, is nebulous at best. But what is absolutely going to occur if you pass an ordinance that prohibits smoking in public places, that's perfectly fine. Private property is another matter altogether, and if there's an ordinance passed that removes rights from private property owners, that's a slippery slope. It's not popular. I don't think it's obviously not good for people that do the smoking, but let's make sure that it's actually based on science. And the biggest danger, I think, intuitively from secondhand smoke are people that live with smokers. This ordinance will have absolutely no impact on their exposure to cigarette smoke in the home. And the other thing to remember, what are the consequences as you write this ordinance for non-compliance of those people that choose not to? Is it going to be additional removal of liberty or private property rights at the point of implied force or actual force? I mean, these are things that we need to think about, and it's easy to get against something that's not popular, and I don't think people should smoke. It's bad for them. But I don't think we should deny people's private property rights on the basis of feeling good about doing something. We need to make absolutely sure that we are on some solid scientific ground before we do that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Graves.
My name is Catherine Shadwell, and I have Vaporifics at 201 North Collegiate. It's a business. We are a vaping shop. And I brought some information for you today because I think it's very unfair to group electronic cigarettes with smoking because it's like apples to oranges. Just because it walks like a duck and looks like a duck and quacks like a duck doesn't always mean it's a duck. And this is not. So I brought this to show you. This right here is the ingredients in electronic cigarettes. And this right here is the additives, only the additives that they add into cigarettes. There's 599 additives here, 69 carcinogens. This is electronic cigarettes, and this is cigarettes. These are only the additives. There's 4,000 chemicals. So how can you group these together? and vote on it as one. I think you need to separate it. That's what I asked the council today, is to separate it and treat it as two different votes.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you. I also would like to leave you with information on, this is what is in vapor, what it contains, and
If you
it's
could-
information.
If you could give it to the city clerk, she'll pass it
I
to
will.
us.
There is one of those, because there was too many pages, and this is one for each of them. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
My name is Norman Cawthorn. I reside at 1428 Fairfax Street here in Paris, Texas. I've lived in Paris since 1991. I'm against this proposal that the city council has before them. Almost all of my adult life, I was a slave to tobacco. A year ago, I gave up tobacco and took up the e-cigs, which Ms. Shadwell was talking about. What I'm hearing a lot of this is people are offended by cigarette smoking and everything. This is another way of taking a business owner's rights away to conduct their business how they want to conduct it when they pay the taxes on it. I'm a business owner myself here in Paris, Texas. I own AAA Auto Glass. If we're going to put a ban on tobacco use in our city because it offends people or whatever be the case, then if we're going to pass this ban, then maybe we need to look at passing a ban on cell phone use in a restaurant, because sometimes myself and probably other people in this council meeting are tired of listening to Jane and John Doe's dramatic conversation that's going on out in the restaurant while we're trying to enjoy a meal. I'm against this proposal before the city council. It's infringing on citizens' rights and business owners' rights. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Tim Briscoe. I live at 4020 Castlegate Drive. I'm opposed on the smoking ban too. I have never smoked, but we don't have the right to take nobody's right from them, because we are in a free country. And if we start getting on other people's telling people what they can do and what they can't do, that ain't hard. We're not here for that. That's when you got people fighting all over the world now. This is a free country. Y'all trying to make it a slavery country.
Thank you, Mr. Briscoe.
My name is Steve Ekstrom. My wife and I live at 725 Medalist Street here in the city of Paris. We've lived here for 20 years, 2 months, and 10 days. We love living here in Paris. I brought a letter I wanted to read to y'all from the chamber, but I've heard all this talk about property owners' rights, and I've thought to myself over the last couple of weeks, I'm a retired person. This is a great opportunity for me. I hear the first federal building is for sale. I'm going to buy it. It's got big plate glass windows in it. I'm going to open Baby Dolls Do, because it's Paris, with those big plate glass windows. Now, I'm going to be a property owner. This is my right. So, and if you don't like looking at all this in my big plate glass windows, go walk down other streets. There's plenty of other streets in Paris. On the top floor, I'm going to manufacture asbestos. Asbestos has a bad rap. It needs to make a comeback. We won't have ventilation. We'll just open the windows. If you don't like breathing asbestos, go walk down other streets. Go walk in another town. Middle Street, I'll put chickens. I'm going to raise chickens. All right, enough of that nonsense. Here's my letter from the Chamber of Commerce. It said, we are very appreciative of the current City of Paris ordinance regarding smoking in restaurants and really prefer that it remains as is. Our community leaders and business owners tell us that they have witnessed continual economic growth citywide and attribute some of this growth to the City of Paris's antiquated smoke 'em if you got 'em policy. Again, we want you to keep your policy and please don't change it. Sincerely, the Chamber of Commerce for the City of Greenville, Texas. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wanting to speak?
Hi, Mayor Hashmi and City Council members. My name is Rachel Kane, and I work for the American Heart Association. We're a national organization. We're known for science and research into heart disease and stroke. Thank you for letting me speak today. My address is 10900B Stone Lake Boulevard, and I reside in Austin, Texas. I'm here to express my strong support for a comprehensive smoke-free ordinance, one that covers all public places in Paris. Everyone, workers and patrons alike, have the right to breathe smoke-free air. Why? Because secondhand smoke kills. It's the third leading cause of preventable deaths in the U.S. It kills 53,000 non-smoking Americans every year. Food service workers have a 50% higher risk of lung cancer, and bartenders have rates of lung cancer higher than firefighters and miners. 2 hours of exposure to secondhand smoke is equivalent to smoking 4 cigarettes. We require seat belts in cars. We don't allow open containers of alcohol in cars. Both of these measures also met with considerable resistance when first proposed. Now both are considered secondhand nature. Why? Because we have seen that they save lives. In cities that pass smoke-free ordinances, you see a 15% reduction in hospitalizations for heart attacks and a 16% reduction in hospitalization rates for strokes. Currently, businesses are already regulated. They're told what temperature food must be served at, and even the number of patrons they may safely serve at one time. Why? Because it is the government's responsibility to provide for the public health and safety of all of its citizens. Lastly, studies of sales tax data from numerous cities, including Louisville, Dallas, Houston, and El Paso, show that smoke-free ordinances do not affect restaurant or bar sales. Going smoke-free is cost-effective, and it has relatively few costs to enact. On behalf of the AHA, I urge you to adopt the strongest comprehensive ordinance that provides for the protection of the public health of all the citizens in Paris. I ask you to remember 3 things. Secondhand smoke kills. Everyone has the right to breathe smoke-free air. And no one should have to choose between earning a living and their health. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, citizens. My name is Sarah Allen. I'm with the American Cancer Society. I reside in Gilmer, Texas, and I visit Paris quite often. As a visitor in this great town I have come to enjoy being in, it kills me to have to spend 5 hours, as I did today, in a local restaurant, leaving with a headache that has still not gone away with prescription migraine medication, due to the fact that I was seated next to the bar area. While there is a partition there, the smoke still billowed out from cigarette smokers on the other side. I live with a smoker who believes that smoking in public places is not her right. She believes that it is the right of everybody else to be able to breathe clean air. As Rachel said, smoke-free policies do work, and they don't create economic damages to businesses. And we know that both smoking and exposure to secondhand smoke are hazardous to all people's health. Everyone does have the right to breathe clean air. Consider your tourists as they come in for all of your city events, your tour to Paris, your bicycle races, your runs, your events, your baseball teams and all of their families that come into your restaurants to eat. Are they going to want to continue to walk in as they open the door and cigarette smoke blows them down as they open that door? Consider your tourists that are coming in to visit your town. How's your economic growth going to go then if you continue this in the future? I asked the council to consider this ordinance and please pass on a positive note.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Crystal Prince. I'm also with the American Cancer Society. I don't think that I need to go into the health details of how the American Cancer Society feels about cigarette smoking. I think it's common knowledge. We all know that cigarette smoking causes lung cancer. It causes emphysema, which my father died from. It causes all types and all forms of health problems. What I would like to relate to, since other people have covered this, is I live in the Texarkana area, but Paris has long since been part of the area that I've covered along with Sarah for the American Cancer Society. We visit here on a regular basis. We lobby for everything to be smoke-free. We hold events as our Relay for Life here and our Relay for Life in all areas that the whole entire stadium is smoke-free at that time. If you light a cigarette, you are escorted off the property at one of our events. The things I would like to address is what I have seen happen in the Texarkana area economically. For those of you that fear that the economics will be affected in this area because of no smoking policies in your restaurants, in the Texarkana area, there's been a no smoking policy for so many years that I don't ever hardly even remember walking into a restaurant and facing the cigarette smoke. Our restaurants are full. It has not economically impacted our area at all. So I'd like to just say that take that into regard, that I do not think that you should fear the economic impacts of this. And just always remember that it is a known fact, and it has been known for 50 years, that cigarette smoke kills. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
You know, I have to disagree with the lady that says you work in a bar.
Can you please identify yourself?
My name's Melissa Jones. I live at 2838 Kessler Drive. I work at the Sunset Lounge, and she said most of the bartenders have cancer. I disagree. I've been working the bar for years, and I don't think it's y'all's decision to tell a club owner what they can or cannot do, or like Mr. McKee tell them that they can't smoke in their restaurant. It's their choice. They're the owners. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Patrick Drum, and I live here at 5979 FM 1184 here in Paris. Recently moved here from Omaha, Nebraska. I've seen all these smoking bans come into effect. I've been in the bar and restaurant business for 22 years. I've owned successfully 7 of these bars and restaurants. And I can tell you 7 times over, it does affect the bottom line. I also have a long, sad story. Both my grandparents died of lung cancer. I still allow smoking in my business because of that flag. I cannot tell anybody what to do. You had on your agenda tonight a lake that this city owns and that you run. You own it, you run it. You're going to do what you see fit. You ask our opinion, but you're still going to do what you want to do. I own now the new owner of the Red River Saloon and Grill at the Ramada. My long story is my life savings is involved there. Every dime I got, I put into this to make a new start here in Paris, Texas. And now I'm going to have people tell me what to do. That bar, I checked. It has a door handle. You don't have to come in there and apply for a job. You do not have to come in there and have a drink or a steak. I promise this council, I will kidnap nobody or no children and drag them in there. It will be their choice, just like it's my choice. I can tell you there are many cities who have adapted this. And in huge cities, it may work out for them because the businesses are huge. Our economic is not that huge here. It will affect. We have the right to choose. Don't take it away from us. Just as many cities have repealed smoking bans. It's something else when this goes back on the agenda and you have to deal with it again. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Shereen Kohler, live 4001 Lakeshore Drive, Reno, Texas. I'm a recently new citizen to Paris. This is my 4th year. Primarily, I lived in Colorado, Longmont specifically. I saw about 15 years ago Longmont enact a smoking ban. And I've also seen Colorado, truthfully, go very quickly downhill. They've made lots and lots of choices for the citizens instead of letting the citizens make the choices for themselves. And I hate to see that happen here. I love Paris. I love Texas. Y'all have the best spirit. You really, truly believe in taking care of yourselves. When you hand that power over to the city or over to anybody else and say, no, it's your responsibility to take care of me, all you wind up doing is decreasing the will of the people. And Texas has a beautiful will. And I would hate for you to see, I'd hate to see Paris go down that same path, because quite honestly, it got to the point where they would tell me what color I could paint my house. Seriously, people? And we're taking the first step? I find it heartbreaking. We have to move ant piles if you want to build somewhere, because the ants were being displaced by your building. It breaks my heart to see Paris trying to take those same steps, especially since I watched them systematically allow someone else to make the choices for them. The free market will take care of it. You know, there'll be places that you don't want to go because it smokes. If enough economic pressure comes upon a person, if everyone in this room decided, I don't want to go anywhere where they're smoking, then they won't. They'll vote with their checkbook. And the businesses that want to stay in business, then they'll either stop smoking or they'll go out of business. But there are people here in town who want to eat at a restaurant that they're allowed smoking, or want to go to a bar where they allow smoking. You know, if it's really a big problem, what'll happen is you'll have non-smoking bars and you'll have smoking bars. Please, don't go down the road Colorado went down. Keep your spirit, keep your freedoms. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm Gavin Holge, and I live in 430 Southeast 39th Street, and my whole family has, my brother has asthma, and I have asthma too, and whenever I'm going to a restaurant and I inhale that smoke, I feel like a fish out of water, just trying to get a breath, but what I can't. So I would like it if you guys would please consider this for not just people who have asthma, but for people's health. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Has everyone spoken? Dr. Green?
My name's Amanda Green. I'm at 4500 Stillhouse Road. I wasn't going to speak again, and I appreciate the time that has already been spent on this. A citizen in Dr. Hashmi's area, Ann Norman, couldn't be here tonight, and she sent a very succinct essay that I just wanted to share because I think she really sums up a very good position on the liberty issue. A famous quotation on freedom is, "Liberty is the freedom to do everything which injures no one else." No rational person can believe in 2014 that smoking is not injurious to the health of our citizens. We must conclude that for the common good, tobacco use should be limited to private homes only. Businesses owned privately but open to the public should be subject to city ordinances on all issues, including no smoking ordinances. When something is shown to be for the common good and citizens petition for an ordinance in support of this common good, it is right and just to enact such a law.
Unfortunately, some folks miss the lessons on the social contract that our ancestors made with governments and the history of having some of our freedoms abridged for this good. Laws are designed to do the greatest good for the greatest number and can often restrict individual liberties. We could write a very long list of such restrictions. Let us start with a silly, although true, restriction. My neighbor cannot have a hog pen in his front yard, at least not for long, because I'm going to complain that the hog pen lowered the value of my home, and some city official will tell him to remove it. For the common good, which in this case is for economic good, a citizen does not have absolute freedom to do exactly as he wants on a plot of land that he holds a deed to. A not so silly restriction on our freedom is speed limits. We do not have as many accidents when speed limits are posted and followed. The proof is in the statistics. Speed kills, and we value our lives and don't want a speeding maniac causing our death. We can be fined for driving without being buckled up with seatbelts. How is this the greatest good for the greatest number? This restriction, too, is about economics, as are many of the limitations. All of us share the cost involved in traffic accidents, and we find the medical cost of patching up and mending the broken body parts to be very expensive. An often quoted limitation on free speech was written in 1919 by Supreme Court Justice. A person does not have the right of falsely shouting fire in a theater and causing panic. Common sense tells us that no freedom is absolute. It's not easy to answer at what point individual liberties have a harmful effect on the rest of society. 25 states in our United States have laws placing some limit on places individuals can smoke. Numerous cities in the other 25 states have ordinances limiting places individuals can smoke. Surely most members of the council have visited cities with such laws. We can conclude that a majority of our citizens believe smoking in public places has a harmful effect on the rest of society. As to the private property argument, the courts upheld the Civil Rights Law of 1964. Restaurant owners do not have the freedom to limit their service to Anglo patrons, even though many argued for this right at the time. No doubt some even closed their restaurants rather than abide by the law of the land. But now, 50 years later, would any rational person open a restaurant with the intent of serving only Anglos? The council should do what's right and just, pass the ordinance which has been proposed for the common good with overwhelming evidence that our tobacco smoke is detrimental to the health of our citizens. If private owners open their businesses to the public, they must operate them for public good.
Thank you, Dr. Green. Everyone done speaking? Dr. McLemore?
Ted McLemore, 2775 41st Street Southeast, Paris, Texas. I just want to reiterate the fact that this is not just a local decision. The Center for Disease Control has reviewed all the latest data on the secondhand smoke effects in not only adults but children. And they are the ones that are pushing a mandate nationwide to control the effects of secondhand smoke on not only adults but children. And I want to point out to all business owners that this sets a precedent for all the lawyers throughout the country. They're going to start looking at this. If you have a child who comes into your smoking environment and they have an asthma attack and die on your property, it's going to be a serious problem. And that's just one example of the effects of cigarette smoking. And most people don't realize, but asthma is a terrible disease, and children can go from asymptomatic, and adults can go from asymptomatic to death just within a few minutes from the effects of inhalants on this disease. And I just urge you to do what the CDC is recognizing. And I know Dr. Graves is an ophthalmologist, but I will tell you I'm a pulmonologist, and all the latest data from the CDC and from research, not only nationwide but worldwide, points to the severe adverse effects of secondhand smoke on not only adults but children. And that's why we need to pass this ordinance. It's not just for the locals here. It's a nationwide and a worldwide commitment that each individual city needs to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McLemore.
Hello, my name is Andrew Merle. I'm an employee for Vaporifics. I'm just asking the council to carefully distinguish the difference between electronic cigarettes and tobacco use. We all heard the dangers of tobacco use. We all understand the dangers of tobacco use. I'd love to hear some numbers about electronic cigarettes. How many people they've killed, how many people it affects, how many people the secondhand vapor of mist this affects. There's no data out there. The Surgeon General himself hasn't put any information out there yet. It's vapor. And like I saw on a TV show, do we need to be worried and duck from steam and fog and mist? Not only that, but you're going to impact businesses who also will have an impact on employees that hire people to do this. So I'd like y'all to consider the difference when you enact this, or if you enact it, to make sure that you have the right data between electronic cigarettes and tobacco. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm sorry to come back up, but I would like to advise the council to amend the ordinance so that the e-cigarettes be taken out of the proposal of the ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Is everyone done speaking? Okay. If everyone's done speaking, the citizen. Oh, Clint.
My name is Cliff Kirby. I live at 230 34th Northeast in Paris, Texas. I'm for the smoking ordinance. I think that there's a group tonight that's not represented, frankly, because they can't represent themselves, and I think the same is true when they go out to a restaurant. Some individuals have argued that it's each individual's choice. Unfortunately, I think there are some children who, whether their parents are not aware of the risk of secondhand smoke or they choose to ignore that, they take their child to a smoking establishment regardless, and they sit next to a smoker, they smoke themselves. And I would ask you to stand up for those who are marginalized and are vulnerable in this situation and can't represent themselves. As far as smoking in your own home or in your own car, I don't think that's what's being proposed here. So, you know, the reaction as if we're saying you can't smoke ever again seems a little absurd, but appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Crystal Deverell. I live at 603 Southwest 3rd Street. I also was thinking about the businesses of if the owners decide to not smoking, what about the employees who work there who do smoke? They go take a break, they come back, they had the smell on them, and they're going to transfer it to their customers. It's a give and take. You want to go in there to enjoy a good meal or socialize to enjoy this wonderful town of Paris. So it's really up to the business, or it's up to the people who comes and spend their money. Either way, you're going to lose money or you're going to gain money from either smokers that work there or who enjoy there. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm sorry. I can barely talk, but I am a management at Lucky's Vapor Store. Not only have I stopped smoking, I'm not looking at it as we are saving lives. I go to work just like a doctor would to stop people from smoking, so I am against the ban of, if it includes vapor cigarettes.
Can I get your name,
Thank you.
please, ma'am?
Your name?
Your name, please.
And my name is Tamisha.
I'm going to ask last and final time if anyone else wants to speak.
Hello, my name is Rita McFadridge. I work at McKee's Restaurant, and I've been there for 29 years. I'm not a doctor. My oldest grandson has got asthma. We didn't take him where they were smoking. We did not smoke around him. The first lady that spoke, I think she's already gone, that had the throat cancer, never smoked. I had a 6-month-old nephew die of cancer. Where'd he get his? My dad smoked for 55 years. He died with no cancer. So that's not 100%. It's going to kill you. God's going to take you when he wants to take you. I think what we're all talking about, if everybody quit smoking right now, I'd say thumbs up to everybody. If we allow this to go through, is it next month we can't have no more chocolate? You know, that's what we're all trying to say. This is our right, you know. I don't think our restaurant was gonna hurt if we take smoking out, because people come to, in there for the bull crap anyway. Not the food, not smoking. But I'm just saying, our right is our right. That's all I got to say.
Thank you very much.
Hello, I am Wesley Tidwell. I am here before the council because whenever I was researching a fact, 1 in every 3 people die of tobacco-related diseases. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, you die. 1, 2, you die. 1, 2, you die. 1, 2, you die. Just count up all those people in this room. That's a lot of death. So I'd like to try to prevent all of this death to at least get the ordinance passed. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Excuse me, Mr. Hashmi. You know, listen to everybody. A similar deal like this was tried back in the 30s, and we all know how well that worked. It was called prohibition. It didn't work at all. Because when you start taking people's rights away, you start making your citizens that are law-abiding, you start making them outlaws. That's not what Paris is all about. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry I'm back again, but my name is Elizabeth Anderson. I lived here since 1984, and it is our right to smoke. It is our right to do what right to us, the law. And there is a law saying that it's right to sell it to us, and it's a right to smoke it. And y'all have people up here testifying to you. They're not even Lamar County residents. That shouldn't even be fair to us. We want what's fair for us, and I know y'all are mostly doctors, but we have the right to smoke. Not you.
No.
Well, they all looked at you. So please don't take that away from us, because if you do, the bars will go under, some of the restaurants will go under. Maggie's doesn't smoke on 271. I know, but I still go out there and eat because it's got good food. I go to McKee's because they smoke, and I love their food. If you can't tell, I got to keep this body up somehow. But my God, please don't take the smoking away from us, because if you do, you're taking a lot away from us, and we don't need that flag no more, because we're not Americans no more. So please think really hard with what you're going to think to do.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to allow anybody who's spoken once to speak again, please. Is everyone done? Young man, you want to speak? Sure. That mic is too high. Come right here.
Good evening. My name is James Patricus, and I'd like to pass the smoking ordinance, because it's okay if people smoke in their house, but please don't try to harm other people smoking. Thank you.
City Council members, Mr. Mayor.
Make the mic up.
My name is Christopher Michael. I'm the Marketing Communications Manager for Vaporifics, and I just have a question. Has the council gathered any scientific data to classify the electronic cigarette vapor with cigarettes? None? I would ask, on behalf of business owners and the citizens, so that they're properly informed with relevant information, if that you could provide them with scientific data that would make proper decisions in regard to regulation, if I'm not being too bold. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to close the public hearing at this point, and we will take discuss it amongst the council members, and I'm going to start myself today. As I said in my last meeting, we Texans don't like to be told what we can and can't do, particularly when it comes to our private property. While the council and local government is responsible for health, safety, and quality of life of its residents, we must be careful that we don't make decisions that may infringe on the rights of our community members, making their life difficult, or for that matter, make rules for businesses and force them to conduct business a certain way. While I say that, it is also important not to forget those in our community who work in hazardous environments, since it is our responsibility for providing them a safe work environment. The issue of a smoking ban has always been a hotly debated topic in all cities where it has been instituted, with both sides feeling very strongly on their ideas. Now, it is our responsibility to make an informed decision, not just based on what we personally want, but what is best for our community as a whole. On the one hand, there are arguments favoring the idea that secondhand smoke is deleterious to health and the CDC's recommendations, and on the other hand, the idea of infringement on our lives based on council decisions. I, as a physician who suggests to people to stop smoking, am really torn and searching to find the right balance between my role as the mayor to protect the rights of those who smoke, and as a physician who truly believes that smoking and secondhand smoke are bad for health. After listening to both sides over the last 2 weeks, particularly to our young students who came and addressed the council, and some others who have either come to the council to speak or sent emails, I lean more towards the fact that there needs to be some sort of a smoking policy instituted, so that on the one hand, the rights of those who don't smoke and get exposed to secondhand smoke are not infringed upon, whilst we don't make the smokers in our community be felt like outcasts, and finally those conducting businesses are not jammed with more rules to follow. It is my recommendation the smoking ban be adopted, but be streamlined by a joint task force which comprises of equal numbers of smokers and non-smokers and business owners, and that once these recommendations are in, that the rules be implemented and adopted as a city policy. Smoking in public places has gone on for a long time, and I think as much as we want things done yesterday, a carefully drafted policy will go a long way. I'm not trying to delay a decision on this by forming yet another committee, but I feel the task force be given a certain period of time to come up with the draft. If the task force does not come up with a draft, then the council will not be left with any other choice but to develop its own policy. Thank you. Mr. Wright.
I too am torn between the two issues. I think we have too much government intervention at this time. And I also think that it's unfair for children to be drugged into places that are harmful to their health. So I am torn between the two issues.
Ms. Drake?
Again, I am not a smoker, but I've never smoked, but I've received a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, and I've taken all of them to heart. Just like I have sat here tonight and listened as intensely as I was able to the pros and the cons on both. A lot of people are talking about their rights being violated if we pass this ordinance. I was reading an article in the paper this afternoon about the alcohol consumption, and that, yes, you can still legally buy alcohol, but there's some restrictions where you can sell it, where you can drink it, and that there was no difference in cigarettes. I think we do not need to, I'm torn after hearing everything. I'm not torn against smoking. I'm against smoking. And I would love to go into some of these restaurants where there is smoking allowed and be able to sit down and enjoy a meal without smoke coming into my face. Yes, I have that right. I have that right to choose not to go in there, just like anyone else does. But I don't think we need to get in a huge hurry over this ordinance. I've been on 2 committees that have rewritten ordinances since I've been on the council. And I'm not saying that these 2 ordinances that we rewrote were any less, because again, we were trying to preserve the health and safety of our citizens, just like this smoking ordinance. And we took a long time on some of these ordinances to look at all of the issues to make sure we had the best ordinance for all concerned. And one of them was the alarm ordinance. We had a lot of business owners that were upset over some of that. We all came together and we were able to come up with something that everybody could live with. It's been 1994 since this ordinance has been revamped. I don't think we need to get in a huge hurry. I think it's something that we still need to look at passing, but I wanted to make sure that if we do pass this, that we have looked at all avenues and all businesses. In looking at the ordinance, there were some things that I had concerns about, and some of the enforcement of it. So I am under my opinion that we need to look at this in more detail, and no one's trying to play big brother to anyone, and we're not trying to take rights away. But at the same time, we've got to look at the safety of our citizens and our future adults, because like the kids said, they are our future. And I would like to see a committee formed, a task force committee formed of some sort with business owners, some doctors, maybe a couple of councilmen, our city manager, our city attorney, and to make sure that we are looking at everything and all businesses, and that we do what's best. So that's my recommendation at this point.
Mr. Jenkins.
Kind of in between the yeses and nos right now. It seems like the only problem is probably for the kids. I know we all want to protect our kids. So as for parents that's bringing their kids to these restaurants that smoke, I mean, you got to look out for them yourselves. But it just kind of bothers me that some people's for, some people against, and I kind of in between making a decision right now, and I want to get more information. But as for the vapor, I mean, I don't know if that's a different thing or what's going on right now. So I'd like to get more information on that also.
Mr. Frierson.
Well, I think a lot of the sentiments that are being made so far are very well thought out as far as going back and forth on the issue. I'd like to ask a couple of questions, just so we can all be clear. I wasn't here at the last meeting, and so if this is a little bit mundane or redundant, I apologize. But John, can you kind of go over what is on the books now that was done in '94? Just kind of a brief overview of where you cannot smoke currently.
I wish I had that with me, and I could. I can tell you just a few things that I remember just from looking back at that while we were working on this new ordinance. And the old ordinance, the '94 ordinance that we're currently under, it allowed for designated smoking areas in certain restaurants and bars. That would not be allowed under this proposed ordinance.
But as far as public areas, softball fields, civic center, that sort of stuff.
There was, I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I believe there were some bans on smoking in public city facilities,
right,
and within so many feet of doors and windows and ventilation units in city facilities. And I don't think it went as far, I know it didn't go as far as the proposed ordinance with,
Right.
you know, banning all smoking in grandstands and,
Yeah.
you know, softball fields and all that stuff.
Well, if you don't mind, I'll kind of start small with the ordinance that was written and then kind of extrapolate from there. I think that there are some things that I couldn't possibly begin to support, you know, as far as the way it's written currently, and anything from involving somebody sitting in their car at the drive-through at the bank. If they're within 20 feet of the tube, they have to put their cigarette out. I mean, I think that's probably a little bit over the top. Construction sites, private clubs, some issues there. I think I don't want to get lost in this emotional issue of, is smoking bad? Of course it's bad, and I don't smoke, haven't smoked, father of 3 asthmatic kids. So very near and dear to my heart, certainly. But overall, then the e-cigarette issue came up. So I don't think that I think there's probably some gray area there that needs to be addressed as well. But, and then to go one step further, we get into the enforcement cost of it all, and who's going to enforce it, how are you going to enforce it? This ordinance reads that business owners would have to put signs in each doorway of their businesses, and there's a cost associated there. So I think there's definitely some things that at best would have to be tweaked out of this. But overall, I don't know that this is something that, as much as I am anti-smoking, I lean more towards Dr. Graves and some of the others that this is a business owner's rights issue to me, that if they choose to make less money or choose to appeal to a different clientele, I have options as an individual on where I'm going to go. And I don't know that overall we're mixing the two things. You know, we have an awareness issue, certainly, but at the same time, we have an individual issue that we all need to really kind of take to heart, that we need as much education and awareness as possible, but at the same time, what an individual chooses to do, certainly, at the end of the day, should be theirs. So I guess that's my opinion at this point.
Ms. Lancaster.
Well, I'm really torn with the situation. I taught school for 27 years and was very aware of how ill some of my students were coming from smoking families, asthmatics and bronchitis and pneumonia, and it's very distressing to deal with those children. But on the other hand, I'm really, really jealous of our rights. And so I think perhaps having a group look at this together and, you know, maybe think of some things that we're not thinking of would be a very good idea. This is a really tough decision. I personally was the recipient of secondhand smoke, gave me pneumonias from a very young age. So I'm very sensitive to smoking around the children, and I really want some really hard look at that. So I think Dr. Hashmi's idea of a group of citizens would be a good way to look at it. And let's drag all of it out and try to educate people as much as we can.
Dr. Grosnickel. I'm sorry, Ms. Lancaster, are you done?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Grosnickel.
Well, at the risk of angering people who smoke and are against this ordinance and my own fellow councilman, I'm disappointed with the idea that we're dodging this issue. We've lost any sort of backbone that we had, and now we're going to appoint yet another committee to study what we all know is that smoking is very harmful to the smoker himself and to the public in general. And, you know, a lot of times we don't have a choice. We have one bowling alley, and as far as I know, they still allow smoking. And when you go in there, a non-smoker can't stay in there for more than 5 minutes. So that's one place where the 20% of people who smoke, you know, basically make it really difficult for people who want to bowl. Walmart's is another area where the citizens, the employees of Walmart, you know, congregate to the side where some picnic tables are and smoke on their breaks. And anybody walking into the store from that direction gets a lung full. And as also by the front doors where there's a couple of benches that people invariably sit either waiting with their groceries, but somebody's going to smoke right there as well. So I think we need to get a spine and try to protect the citizens better. I mean, this is not just Paris, Texas. There are cities, there are states that have statewide ordinances. There are countries that have passed a stronger smoke-free environment law. Ireland, Scotland, they don't allow it. I mean, they have very restrictive laws. Yeah, they may still sell cigarettes, and maybe one day, you know, they'll decide that all the predominance of medical evidence is that smoking is extremely, it's the worst legalized drug that we have. It's worse than alcohol. And as far as e-cigarettes, I don't know much about them, but I don't think the world needs yet another nicotine delivery system. It's not just the carcinogens in smoke that are harmful. The nicotinic effects are not only addictive, but they stress the heart, cardiovascular system, cause hypertension and heart attacks. So do we really need e-cigarettes? Do we want young kids? My own son had a friend who brought an e-cigarette into my home, and we found out about it, and we were angry because we don't want them to think that, you know, an e-cigarette is okay or it's something cool. It may help people who are trying to quit, but so can patches and gum and some of the other drugs that help curb the nicotine addiction. But the e-cigarettes also make it look like it's something cool, I mean, to some people. And it may cause other people to start smoking, or the people who try e-cigs and decide, well, I really like the cigarette better, and I'll go back to it. So I do think they probably can prevent some smoking, but they also may lead back to people who can't continue to stay off cigarettes. I think employees have rights to work in a smoke-free environment. You know, we talk about issues in Texas, motorcycle helmets. You know, all the motorcycle riders, you know, wanted the right to, you know, splash their brains all over the highways, but they just, by God, weren't going to wear helmets, and so I guess they don't still have to. But society pays for that. When these people are in terrible accidents and brain damaged and paralyzed, who pays for that? Most of those people, many of them are uninsured, and the public pays the tax bill for their irresponsibility. Some of them might be injured anyway, but at least their brains might be protected and survive a potentially lethal accident. CVS Drugs just announced this past week that they're going to stop selling cigarettes, and they're going to take a pretty big hit to their gross sales. But I applaud them. I think it's great. I think that CVS should be applauded, and I might start going there instead of Walgreens because of that. When people have, the statistics show that the highest rate of smoking is among the poorer classes, and also by many of the younger people. You know, there's a very low smoking rate after 60 or 70 because they're either all dead or they've been shamed by their doctors into quitting. But if the young and the poor are the ones smoking, they're also, Obamacare aside, many of the ones that don't have insurance. So again, the society's paying for smoke-related illnesses and problems, and there's a great cost to businesses with employee absenteeism due to smoking-related illnesses. So again, the cost of that are, you know, $97 billion in lost productivity in the United States and $96 billion in medical costs. Well, you know, it is a right to smoke now, and maybe it won't be someday, but I think the United States of America is supposed to be ruled by majority, right? So if 18% of people still smoke and 88% don't, 82, excuse me, thank you. 82% don't smoke, then is it really right that we're trying to take away your rights? I mean, I think that the 82% is a pretty good majority, and that maybe it would set a pattern where people would want to quit smoking. And I know it's hard to quit smoking, but I just think that we don't want to make it any easier for people to adopt the habit than it already is. So I guess I've vented what I feel, but I really think that we don't need another committee to study this issue. We just need to really in our hearts do what's right, which I think is to protect all of us from cigarettes that need protection. And that's all the citizenry. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Grossnickel. I'm going to, please, can we please stop that? Yes, thank you. I'm going to speak, and then I'm going to give the council again, anyone who wants to speak. First of all, I want to make it very clear that I have the spine to make tough decisions. I'm not dodging the issue by any means, and I think you're all well aware of it because we have made decisions in the past which took quite a spine. So that's number one. Number two, at no point have I said that I'm against a smoking ban. I'm for it. That's what I made very clear in my statement. The only thing that I'm concerned about is the ordinance that is written the way it's written is where I have some issues with. And that is where I wanted a committee to sit down, both smokers and non-smokers, to come up with reasonable ordinance that is acceptable to both sides. I'm not saying there shouldn't be a ban. I'm not saying that I'm going to dodge the issue, and I'm not saying keep it pending for the next 20 council meetings. That's not what I said at all. But I think the ordinance, the way it's written, I have some concerns about it. And I think for that reason, I think people need to be given a chance to sit down together and come up with an ordinance that is good for both the smokers and the non-smokers. And I think we are all reasonable people, and I think we can all sit down and come to a conclusion on that. So as far as dodging the issue or not having another committee, it's not dodging the issue at all. I'm against smoking, that's what I recommend, and that's what I'm for. However, I've expressed my other opinions on this issue, but what I am suggesting is that hotel or restaurant owners, council members, maybe the right person is to have Dr. Grossnickel and Mr. Frierson both on it. Well, I just propose both of you for that from the council side.
I second it.
And then people, there is a restaurant owner who's sitting over here who's for the smoking ban, and then there are restaurant owners who are against the smoking ban. They both should be on it, and my request is, and if a physician wants to be on it, give us your names who want to be on it, and we'll select the people, but equal number of people from both sides, and let them come up, read the ordinance, which is the way it's written, and rewrite the areas where there is concern on both sides, and then come back to the council, just like we have done in the case of alarm ordinance, just like we have done as the, what was the last one? Sign ordinance. So that is what my recommendation is. It's not dodging the issue. Mr. Wright.
I think that's a good idea, and I think that the city attorney should be in on it to keep everything legal and fair.
Ms. Drake.
I stated from the beginning I was for the ordinance. My concern was there's some issues, some gray issues in here, especially about the enforcement of it, that I had some great concerns over. And so that was why I wanted us to look at it, that I was not ready to pass it tonight. Because having been from that end many years ago, I think there's some concern, some red flags that came up right there on mine. So that's why I was not ready to pass it tonight. I just want it to be looked at and make sure that we have some people, not that Kent didn't do a good job. I don't want him to think he didn't. But there's just some areas that I have some concerns about before I'm ready to pass it.
Mr. Jenkins.
I think you come up with a pretty good idea. I almost want to ask everybody in here what they think about the idea.
I think we already did that.
No doubt.
Mr. Frierson, your second chance.
First of all, I would like to recuse myself from the committee that I was so rudely appointed to. That would be no. Actually, the only other thing I did want to say was thank everybody for coming out tonight. It's really interesting to see the issues that mean so much to people. I'm loosely calculating at 25 people speaking. Is that right? 20, yeah. 20, 35, excuse me. pretty well split, a few here and there, but I do appreciate everybody being so interested and involved in this. And overall, again, I think it's a choice of the individual, but I mean, as far as moving forward, I do think there are some specific areas that could probably be modified within this that, probably not going to suit me totally, but, then again, we're here for everybody, not just for ourselves, so.
Ms. Lancaster.
Well, there's no doubt that I'm for a smoking ban. There's some areas in the old ordinance that I thought went a little too far, weren't reasonable, and I thought there were some areas that just weren't covered at all, and that's one reason I'd like to have a group look at it. Let's get a really comprehensive, something that makes a difference when you're walking in the door of Walmart, you're not knocked down by the smoke. I absolutely cannot go where there is smoking. And there are a lot of you restaurant owners that have never seen me go through your door. I couldn't play bingo. I couldn't go to the casino. I couldn't do any of those things because that smoke will absolutely put me in an asthmatic fit. So, I mean, there must be some way we can reconcile this so people can go and enjoy some of the things. I'd love to. But smoke has ruled what I can do, and I know lots of the children in my class couldn't go to some sporting events and things because of the smoke. So I just think a good serious look at this ordinance, adding some things and maybe taking some things out is a good idea.
Dr. Grossnickel, your second chance.
I would just like to point out to the people who smoke, if you've forgotten just how potent one cigarette is to foul a very large area of land. I mean, when you're out at the Woodall Field and somebody lights up in the bleachers, you'll see an immediate, large number of people moving away, and it's because it's very potent. And one little cigarette goes a long way, and it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And I think that's why we need to ban it in all public areas, besides the fact that it would help lower our risk of getting secondhand smoke and other smoking-related illnesses. But not everyone dies from lung cancer, no, but 9 out of 10 lung cancers are caused by smoking. So that's pretty damning statistics. And, for those who smoke, I feel sorry for you. If you give it up, you'll have a lot more money to spend elsewhere, But I understand you have a right to do it, at least, now. Maybe someday the world will ban cigarettes, but until they do, it is legal. But I just think that we're not grabbing the bull by the horns and acting on it. I understand we can overlook the ordinance and tweak it and try to get more information on e-cigarettes, but I think that the thrust of the ordinance should be passed and soon, really. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
I have a question of the city attorney. Would this include like the Veterans Foreign Wars and private clubs?
It does, as it's drafted and proposed, it does include private clubs. That's another, thing you might want to look at and talk about, but it would cover it now.
So now I'm going to make a motion on this item which Mr. Frierson might not like, but I'm going to make it anyway. Oh yes, I'm entitled to make my motion. So I make a motion that a task force be formed, headed by 2 of our esteemed council members, Mr. Frierson and Dr. Grossnickel, which should have equal number of smokers and non-smokers, or supporters and non-supporters, to come up, review the ordinance as it's written, tweak it, and bring it back to the council. So I make a motion. Do I have a second on this?
Second.
No, you cannot include Mr. Frierson and I without our consent, because, clearly I wouldn't have an open mind, and I don't think it's fair to appoint somebody who's biased from the get-go, and you have no chance of me being fair. So why would you appoint me?
We got one.
And I think we've always, we've spent a lot of time on this issue. And
you really don't want to be on it?
I really don't.
Mr. Frierson, you don't want to be on it?
Rather not. Yeah.
Okay, I'll volunteer my services. And one other council member, whoever wants to.
I would like to sit on it to look at it from especially the enforcement side of it.
That's fine. And if I can please ask supporters and non-supporters, whoever wants to be on this task force, to please write your names, give it to the city clerk, and then we'll conduct a meeting and then go further with this. So I'll redo my motion by saying create a task force for retweaking the ordinance and then having input from both the business owners as well as for and against supporters, so that we can bring back to the council a tweaked ordinance. Do I have a second for that?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
A nay.
Okay. Mr. Friesen, can you make yourself clear with yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So all in favor other than Dr. Grossnickel. Thank you, everyone. Now, since everybody has been patiently waiting, I'm going to give a 5-minute break for the council. We're reconvening. Item number 12 is to receive and discuss annual report and plans for police department. Mr. Hundley. Mr. Hundley, nobody wants to listen. They all left.
Mayor, I feel good that you haven't at least passed me over like you did the fire chief. I will be brief.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, 12 minutes. Mr. Mayor, Council, thanks for having us up here so we can tell you about what all we've been doing. You've got the reports, and I think they're up on the screens, is that we had basically what I'm going to refer to as a little bit of an anomaly in 2013, and that is our total calls for service were down about 5,000 calls from the last 3 years. We averaged between 48,000, 49,000 calls for service, and this past year we were down about 43,000 calls. The arrests were down only slightly. We had 150 less arrests than we did in 2012. That's the bad news, if you will, but the good news, I think, in that particular figure is that there were 62 less juvenile arrests. And anytime we're not getting kids into the criminal justice system, that's a good thing. Our motor vehicle crashes, accidents, they were down last year. They stay a little bit static, but they were down. The next page on the UCR Part 1 crime statistics, I gave you a 4-year trend because everybody's concerned about our crime stats. And if you look there on the reported UCR 7, the top 7 crimes that UCR tracks, murder, rape, aggravated assault, robbery, theft, and auto theft, is that over the past 4 years, those are on a steady decline. That's one thing we're proud of. The next thing is that the clearance rate has gone from 16% in 2009 to 22% in 2012. And so even though we're having less crimes, that's still a percentage, so our clearance rate is going up. That's pretty much, in a nutshell, what we did in 2012 in the last few years. And what I want to turn our attention to now is maybe our plans for the future. We have a problem with employee retention. I went back to 2004, 10 years, 2004 to 2013. We've had 118 employees come through the police department, 118. Out of that 118, 52 of those were sworn, what I call operational police officers. In other words, guys who have been hired, they've been trained, they're out in the car by themselves. Okay?
Mr. Hundley, can I stop you for
You
one
bet.
second? Can you please go back to the previous slide?
I will.
Further back, right there. No, the one before this. 2013, the fatalities that are written to, these are just motor vehicle fatalities?
Yes, sir.
Is there fatalities as far as the number of murders in town?
No, sir.
Okay, that's not listed?
No, sir.
Okay. So that was one question that I had. The second question that I have is a request that while we do this all electronic, if we can please have these presentations also included in our transmissions so that we can read these before we come to the council meeting. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, moving on into the retention. Now, out of those 52 officers, 15 of those they honorably retired. And so not really counting those, but that still leaves us with 2 officers who were terminated and 35 officers who left us and went to other law enforcement entities or the private sector. That also leaves us right now that we're fully staffed as far as how many roster spots we have and who all is hired. But right now, we're operating on 1 officer on military deployment, 1 officer on injury leave, 2 officers that are still in the field training program, and 1 officer that's still in the basic peace officer academy. So even though we're fully staffed, we're still operating about 5 or 6 people short. Okay? The employee retention is an issue because not only the amount of money that we spend each year on getting these people trained and up to speed as being a police officer, that money, when we lose those folks, that money's lost. And that's one thing that we lose. But the main thing, especially being a cop, is your experience level. The more street time you have, the more street experience you have, the better of an investigator you are, the better of an officer you are. And once we start losing these folks, we lose that experience, and we're starting off with rookies all over again. Now, as we also look at our plans on personnel, we're working through some supervisory position changes. You remember that we changed some titles of police officer supervision positions here a while back. And we're going to work through those changes by attrition to obtain what we call a recognized span of control, where there's 1 supervisor for about every 7 officers. Our problem is that in our services division, I've got 2 guys that are supervising 23 employees. Mostly dispatch, mostly civilian, but that's just a little bit too heavy for 2 guys to be doing. Our goal is to staff each patrol officer with at least 8 officers and a supervisor, and retain the officers will allow us to reduce that overtime and at the same time provide more what I refer to as preventative patrol and not going from call to call. As far as in the future, what we'd like to see, and I think we've already spoke about this a couple of times, is that I'm going to jump around here just a little bit. We would like to get our narcotics unit put back together to where we have guys that are just assigned narcotics investigations, a traffic unit, because even though that our accidents were down a little bit this past year, they've been pretty static for the past 3 years. And I have a firm belief that the more traffic law enforcement you have, the less accidents you have. And that's important, especially when you look at the injuries and fatalities. The community-oriented policing grant that we applied for, we're in our 4th year of that, or going into our 4th year of that. In 2015, that will end. And that's a very important unit of us because it provides officers who have the time to work on neighborhood problems instead of just coming by, taking a report, making an arrest, or gone. These guys can work a little bit longer and they actually try to solve the problems that created the problem in the first place that we got caught. As far as the Texas Police Chiefs Association best practice, we're still in that. We'll be going through a recertification in 2016. Very good program. This is not just rubber stamp that we've written some stuff up. We have to prove that we're following our policies. And that's the reason why it's best practices. And we just become a better, more professional police department because of that. Even now, when we attained our recognition in 2013, we were the 62nd police department in the entire state of Texas to get that. They're only like 93 now. So this is not just a real easy recognition that you can get. As far as equipment and cost, our biggest cost that the police department has, besides personnel, is our life cycle replacement of patrol vehicles. Once these cars get 90 to 100,000 miles on them, they're not really safe for what we refer to as frontline patrol, where they're trying to respond to emergency situations or quickly get from one place of the town to the other. We do a life cycle replacement bullet resistant vest. We do that with a 50-50 grant from the federal guys. And one thing that we've been talking about and asking for is providing for the officer equipment. We hire a guy, when he comes to work for us, he has to spend about $1,000 for the Batman utility belt and sidearm. We don't furnish that. We furnish the vest and the uniform, a stick, and a can of OC spray. And everything else they have to provide themselves, and that's about an outlay of about $1,000 a person. The communications, the only outlay that we're looking at that will be coming up is the mandatory. We've already completed about a year in advance the mandatory move to what's called P25 radio equipment for all agencies or all departments within the city. But now we're getting to the back, it's always back to the basics. We're back to dispatch, who still have analog consoles. And at some point in time, those are becoming about 10 or 12 years old, and we're going to start having to replace those. That's about our equipment needs, our personnel needs for the police department as its own. The only other thing that we will bring up is animal control. And we have made some very good progress out there. And I'm going to be very honest with you. The main reason why we've done some progress is because we have a very good relationship with Lamar County Humane Association. They're helping us out a great deal on adoptions and rescues. And as of 2013, out of 4,446 animals that came into the shelter, there was rescued and adopted about 1,600. And so that gets us to a no-kill of about 38%. And for a city-run shelter that is not no-kill, 38% is up and coming. So we're going to do our continued partnership with the Humane Association. And one of the things that we're really starting to work on and have been working on, but we're finding out it just takes manpower, is the cleanliness of the shelter. If you walk in looking for a dog and it stinks, you're not going to hang around. And I assure you that we've made some very big strides in odor control. Odor control is tied to cleanliness, and that's what we've been working on. And it's not a fragrant rose, but it's tremendously better than it was, a year ago. And I don't know if that's 12 minutes, but that's what I've been allotted. And if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Huntley. You are much cheaper than the fire chief.
I don't know how to take that. All right. Anything else?
I don't have any questions. Thank you. Anybody from the council has any questions?
I'd like to ask Chief Huntley, what do you need to help limit the number of officers who leave to join other forces? It's just higher salaries, better benefits, what?
I don't ever want to sit here and say, give me more cops and give me more money, okay?
But I'm going to say that anyway.
But I'm going to say that, okay? Because you don't have to go far. Greenville PD, if you're a 5-year officer, Greenville PD starts out with a 5-year officer at $56,000 a year. We top out at $46,000. Larry and I, Fire Chief Wright and I, we're in the same predicament. We're far enough away from the Metroplex that we don't really compete with them every day, but that's who we're losing our people to. Because just like in the fire service, police service, and I'm sure in EMS as well, is that there are higher salaries for these folks. And the problem that we're having, besides losing these folks, is we're not attracting candidates in. And it's not just our department, that's law enforcement as a general rule. Everybody is having problems attracting anybody to this particular business. It's a tough business, okay? But that's where it comes down to.
Okay. But now that Dr. Gross-Nichols asked a question, I have a question too. The people who do stay, I mean, they are also entitled to go to Greenville, and they could go to, why do they stay?
Most of them will have some kind of a route system here in Paris. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not going to, challenge the idea that the cost of living in Paris is cheaper than the cost of living in Mesquite. There's no doubt about that. A lot of the people that we have seen that have stayed here for a while are from here, or they have family here, or they want the rural life instead of the city life. It's a personal decision on that, where other folks say, where we're losing most of our officers is 3 years to 6 years service. And that's when those guys say, well, let me just tell you this. The colony, we have 3 officers that work at the colony, where our guys and ladies will take probably 4 to 6 offense reports in a shift. The colony may take 1 or 2 a week for more money. And so that's where in fact, I've told those guys that work at the colony now they can't come back in the station. Okay. So.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
During the interview process, do you look for a profile of people who are likely to stay here and let that be your,
Mr. Wright, when we're doing it, the interview process, the short answer is no, sir, we don't. Okay?
This brings me to another question now, actually. Do you feel that since your detectives, etc., are more or less fixed, and I think we have discussed this in the past, do you feel if people had a rotating job in the police department of that they had to move from one section to another section to another section to another section, would it make the job more attractive for them rather than be just a patrolman and staying a patrolman and wanting to leave because they're just, I'm not saying that's happening or not happening.
Right.
I'm just wanting to know, would it be that if you had a patrolman who feels that, 2 years from now I'm going to be a detective, maybe that's what he wants to do?
Right.
So my question is, would some reorganization in the department to make it more attractive by moving people around, is that, again, it's coming from a doctor, so,
The best way I can answer that is that I'm trying to manage the funds that you give me as efficiently as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get a guy that's going to go into the criminal investigation division, I'm going to spend a lot of money training him, getting him trained up to do what he needs to do. If he's there for a couple of years and gains that experience on interviewing and working crime scenes and all that type thing, even though I may be taking a junior officer and making him feel better to put him in CID,
mm-hmm.
I'm taking a seasoned officer that's a good guy and a good investigator and putting him back to patrol. And so if I move one up, I'm moving one down, if you will. We've got patrol officers that have been in patrol for 10, 12 years, and that's what they want to do. We have guys, we try to rotate. We rotate we have a warrant officer position in CID that we rotate. We rotate the PIO, the public information officer. We rotate the community-oriented policing officers. So we do have some places where we can move around, because I understand exactly what you're saying. People can get stale and want to do something else.
And the other question that I have is, do we do exit interviews?
Yes, sir.
What is the gender? Is it just finances that makes people move?
It is finances. Partly, I'm never going to lie to y'all. Finances is, yes, I can make more money somewhere else. The other part of it is that they're tired of police work.
No, but if they're going to another police department.
Well, the 35 guys that I was talking about leaving, or 35, actually 33 and 2 women, several of them say, I'm done with law enforcement. I don't want to be in this business anymore. The ones that are going to other towns are going because of more money and less work.
Okay. That's all from me.
Okay.
Anybody else? No. Thank you so much, Mr. Hanley.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask item number 13 be tabled because the gentleman who was to present could not make it here.
I make a motion, we table it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Let me see. Okay. Is this the next one, a long one? Discuss and take action on guidelines for community garden.
No, in fact, I would just.
Actually, I have something, I've been trying to get a hold of you, and I apologize. Most of the businesses that we've
Please
been having.
introduce yourself.
I'm sorry, I'm Christy Foster. I'm part of the Seeds of Hope project. I've actually been trying to get a hold of you, and of course, of all the stuff that we've been doing this past couple of weeks, have kind of got a few things a little sidelined, so I apologize. I've created the guidelines that Mr. Godwin had given us. I was creating the application, and we came across some of the some things that was kind of inhibiting some of our program, but it's not bad. It's not bad, and it's not long. And actually, I have a slightly amended, and to make it really, really quick.
Can we give it to the... There's a newspaper person too. And there's a... You can...
Let's see here. The first one we had a slight issue with was the one that my mind's still in Sulphur Springs for some reason. Mr. Goodwin had given was I'm sorry. Mr. Godwin. It was the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th one down. It says furnish adequate supervision. The only thing we changed on that one was the ages, and which is item F on the one that I presented. Instead of it being, I grabbed the wrong one.
Dave, you can have my copy. I'll share it. Okay.
Oh, I have extras. Instead of it being 15 years of age or older, because we do have high school programs that are wanting to be involved, we dropped it down to 14 years old for the one adult or more for minor participants. The ages, let's see here, the next one was at least one adult for every 4 children who are 5 to 13, because we also have junior high and high school programs that are wanting to be involved, and so we're trying to make the variances for that. And we have, because we're trying to make this flat across the board for all of our programming, we do have families that are wanting to be involved, and we're trying to make sure that there's parental involvement with children who want to be involved, because we didn't want to leave out the kids as well, because we need to start them early learning how to be green. The next one is a few ones down. It says provide food, provide grown food on site to individuals or groups free of charge. The only thing that was added was to the end of that one was unless a qualifying gardening participant or project, which we do have individuals who are going to, like the downtown food pantry. We've been talking with people over there, and they're going like, well, can I come and help? Well, we would consider them a qualifying gardening member who would be able to take the actual food home from that program.
Ms. Foster, has Mr. Godwin seen this yet or not?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And the only other one that's really of a concern is the next to the last one, which, because of the New Hope Center and Salvation Army, we're trying to get them a lot of their own. It was the next to the last one under the group. What the group will do is not to subtract or subcontract or assign its responsibilities to any other group, organization, or enterprise outside, which is what I put on our sheet, outside of the original contract, which we do have contracts that are to be filled out that has that information on it. But everything else is pretty much the same, because we're trying to keep things unanimous across the board.
All right. Any of the council members have any questions? So what I'd like to do, with everyone's permission, I'd like to make a motion to table this item, let Mr. Godwin review it for next time, and put it on the next council agenda. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No.
And
Okay.
I do apologize for this, Mr. Godwin.
Okay. Item number 15 is receive and act on an update of storm debris removal. Mr. Godwin.
Two things. One is that as of yesterday afternoon, TNT collected about a little over 31,000 cubic yards. So pretty good work, especially considering some of the weather we've had. Overall, pretty pleased with that. And then the second thing I want to mention, certainly I can try to answer any questions you may have in addition to that, but it's getting pretty late. If in fact TNT gets to the point where they're not going to be able to finish the work within the $250,000 that was already allotted, what I'm looking for is authority to go ahead and let them finish. I don't want them to, they're about 2/3 of the way through the town probably, and they'll do a second pass, but we'd like them to be able to finish. So I'm asking for authorization to use additional funds from reserves as needed to let them finish their job.
My first question is TNT still the company doing it? Because
Yes.
there were some other trucks with different names.
They have 3 or 4 subcontractors that they use. They have 12 trucks out there. Some of them are their own, but they're the only vendor that's working directly for us.
Okay. In terms of, you've given the number 31,000 cubic yards. In terms of the areas, are most areas done?
About 2/3 of them are done for the first time, and I have a map that I lost.
That's fine. And the second question that I have is, at 31,000 cubic yards, how much have we spent? No, I'm not talking about the previous expenses and overtime, et cetera, specifically with this.
At 343, it's a little over $100,000 so far.
Okay. At 343, it's over 100,000.
Right.
But we still have 150 left in what we approved.
Yes, but we've also spent other money, remember. We've had a contractor that's done the grinding. Which is
$50,000 which you had spent before.
And we spent $48,000 on the other contractor that was the short-term contractor. And then we've had a lot of other just smaller expenses that have added up as well.
Okay. Have we gone over 250 already or
We
not?
have not yet.
Okay.
But I don't think it's going to be possible for TNT to finish the town without going over. So that's why we want to set aside more money.
Okay. Now, one other question that I have is that the 250 that we had marked for that, it was my understanding that all of it was towards TNT. So you may have, or the 50,000 which we had, so we really had earmarked 200,000 for it. And the other expenses we had really not counted for at that point.
Right.
And so my personal feeling on this is that you still have about $100,000 in it. So, I mean,
and that's the main thing, is just that you guys understand what we're doing, because I don't want you to get caught by surprise. You don't necessarily need to take any formal action, but I do want you to be aware of what we're doing and be on board that we're going to let TNT finish their job within that amount.
I would still say that since you have $100,000 left, it should continue on. And if you get to a point that you're exceeding, you can call an emergency meeting and all of us can sit and, say yes. But that's all that my thoughts are. Mr. Wright?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Mr. Jenkins?
I'm okay with that right now.
Ms. Lancaster?
I agree with that, but we certainly have a great deal of the west side that's not covered.
Yeah, there's an awful lot to go. The original estimate was 60,000. And they picked up about 31, and the other contractor picked up about 8. So there's still a long ways to go. Even at this last week, the 23,000, it's about 2 or 3 weeks away before they get finished.
Dr. Grossnickel?
I would think if this company is doing a rapid and good job, then I don't think we need another meeting. I don't think we have much choice but to allocate more funds if need be. So I think we probably would, if asked, to go ahead and let John exceed that amount, the original 250, by maybe another 20% or so. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Mr. Tyson?
John, how much money are you contemplating at this point?
It would be between 50 and 100,000 total, probably. Now that's for everything, not just for TNT. TNT should still be below the 250. So
okay.
Depends on if you go with the total or with the.
It has to be done. So I mean, if that's
yeah, I mean that's
right. Ms. Drake.
I would just sort of like an update before you go out and spend another $50,000, $100,000 or whatever. But I do have a question on something.
You mean on TNT?
Yeah.
Well, I mean they're going to be working in the morning at 7, so I don't.
No. I think. Can you make yourself clear?
No, I mean, if we don't have enough money, that you would let us know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I do have a question on something else regarding that I saw taking place today, and I don't know, maybe the owner of the company can, or you either one can answer it. They finally got to my street today, and I heard this horrible noise, and I thought, oh, what is it? And I went out there and was watching them. And I was very impressed with the guy because he was sweeping and cleaning and everything. But then he went on away from my house and left lots of stuff still in front of my house. and went down 3 houses down and started picking up. So I was just sort of wondering why they're not cleaning off everything at one place before they move on to something else. That was
Oh,
my
there she
question.
is.
I'd have to defer to the owner on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was my question.
Can I ask you, do you live at the beginning of Clark Street possibly?
No,
Where do
I
you
live on Simpson.
I can't speak for your particular address because I'm not exactly sure where it is.
Mhm.
What happens sometimes is it depends what type of equipment is in that area.
It was one of those big claw.
Gravel. Or did you have big logs?
They'd all been cut up.
Things will, anytime one of our trucks pass a pile,
Mhm.
they must take each pile as they go. If
Mhm.
they pass a pile, they text my phone and tell me why they passed it and what the situation is. A couple things will happen. If it's under a power line, that particular piece of equipment, the grapple hook, a lot of times he can't get under those lines without electrocuting himself. And what'll happen in those instances is we'll come back with the Bobcat.
Okay, because I had a neighbor immediately ask me, and I said, I'm going to council tonight, I'll find out.
And that's what happens. You can
Okay.
rest assured, if anyone's house is passed, there's a legitimate reason.
Okay.
It's a
I
power
figured there
line
was. I
issue.
just told 'em I'd
It's
find
that their
out.
equipment can't pick it up. But we're tracking those.
Okay.
Anytime they pass a pile, I know about it. We track those, and then we'll take a different piece of equipment in there to
Okay.
be able to get them. But that's the kind of things that are happening.
I want to thank you, really. You
Yes.
people have done a beautiful job.
Thank you.
And
I
so
was-
you are all, to all your staff who works, please tell them a lot of thanks from all of us, from all the residents in the
Well, I was
community.
very impressed with the sweeping up of the.
Have you decided to move to Paris yet or
I'm
not?
thinking about it. Hey, the thought is there. I will mention something that Mr. Godwin asked. As far as if we get to a point where we've exhausted the funding that's there, it is very, very important to us that we can expedite that decision because we are out of town. We have
Yeah,
out of town
I don't think
expenses,
we
so
will-
can't
I don't think
sit
the-
for a
Yeah.
lengthy period of time.
Yeah, I don't think the council has any intention of letting you go back to Alabama and then calling you back.
Good deal.
No, we want it done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Does anyone want to, maybe Dr. Grossnickel wants to make a motion on this item? Just some.
Well, I don't know. I would.
Does anyone else want to make a motion on this? Because this is a motion item.
Okay.
Mr. Frierson.
I make a motion that we authorize city manager to expend up to an additional $50,000 out of the monies already allocated.
Okay. I'll second it.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Yeah, we have one
No.
question.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to reiterate that Aaron and I are both seeing a whole lot that has not been picked up.
Yeah, I thought they was coming like from the north,
Yeah.
south, east, west.
And we're,
Yeah, they're coming from the outside and working their way in, so the middle is still real undone.
Well, at
The
one
outside.
time, at
This
one
goes that
time, you
ways.
told us they were gonna start on First Street and going all directions.
They did, when we were doing it in-house, that's what they did. We started in the middle and worked our way out, and these crews are working more on from the outside, working their way in.
Everybody got their own rules.
Yeah, well, and, you know, no matter what order, if you go 1 through 10, or if you go 10 through 1, somebody's first and somebody's last.
Maybe you could mention to the lady
Like the outside west.
so that they can pay a little.
almost any of West, you can start from
Yeah,
practice
they
7th
haven't
Street
been
on
out there
Bonham
at all.
and go straight out. And any street in any direction.
Can you come up front just for a second, please? 3 of the council members have some concerns, so if you can address them.
Okay.
Ms. Lancaster.
Well, you can start on Bonham Street, a little past, well, just a little past 7th Street and go straight out, and any street on either side.
Yes, ma'am, and we have 2 crews that are working that zone currently. They're actually working from 19th Southwest
See,
to
I haven't
7th.
seen any of that, and I drive that every day.
19th was cleaned over the weekend. That's where they started. I started one on 19th north of Bonham and one on 19th south of Bonham. And
Okay,
working from,
when you say 19th, what about those streets that come like West Kaufman and Sherman and all of those that are coming off of it?
Yes, ma'am. What happens is, if you don't run it very systematically, then what happens is just like she was speaking about, you will have piles left all over throughout the city. So what we do is we break your city down into small sections. We have a crew, and they're responsible for that section. They may work your parallel streets first and then come back and work your up and down streets, or they may work systematically. But they will start at the beginning of a road and they will continue in a systematic format. That way I can track what they're doing. I'm following them around all day long. I can make sure that my truck is not taking the big fluffy piles and leaving the small piles and leaving you with things, or homeowners that are calling you.
I can assure you, there's some big stuff still out there,
Oh, there's quite a bit of stuff still out there, yes ma'am.
quite a bit.
And I think we've made a pretty good bit of progress this week. Our first week was a little bit slow getting going. We've moved pretty well this week. And
Well, I saw where you hit Southwest 3rd, I saw that was cleared up, 4th and 5th, but you didn't get much past 7th.
No, ma'am, we haven't. We're working that now. And one of the things that we've tried to do, working with the city, is place the trucks in the areas that were highly concentrated for a couple of reasons. One is it's a health and safety risk pulling out of their driveways. Secondly, where there's a lot of debris, most of those people have more debris in their backyard. They can't bring it out until we get it out of their right of way because they
Well,
don't have any more space.
This I see every day, so I know it hadn't been added to, hadn't been taken away from.
And there's many that we've not made it to. I mean, we've worked 9.5 days, and we said when we came it would be from 3 weeks to a month.
Well, I was glad to see that
And like
you
Mr.
picked
Godwin
up
said,
the,
you can't get to all of them, but we are working very diligently to do that.
Mr. Jenkins?
I was with her.
Mr. Wright?
you know, I was glad to see that you did pick up those piles that were around the, on Pine Bluff where they were doing sewer work. I thought that was really a hazard, and you did get that done.
Thank you.
Yeah, there was a comment about working out and working back in, but out past the loop in West Paris, there have been pickups. Inside the loop, there's been none. I mean, even in the first block.
On the west side of the city?
West.
Okay. We just started 2 crews, and I will tell you, it was my mistake. Mr. Godwin and Mr. Laranger asked me to put 2 crews on 19th Street last week. I did that. Unfortunately, I did not realize that they were talking about 19th Southwest. We started working 19th, is it Northeast? I was confused on that, and that was my mistake. They asked me to be on 19th a few days ago, and that was a mistake on our part, but we do now have 2 crews there working east towards 7th, and then we have crews working from the east to the west, and what they'll do is eventually meet up in the middle. It's also important to know what we do. We have a variety of different types of equipment, and I'll give you an example. My crew that's working outside the loop on the northeast side of the city, he's running a truck. It's what we call a double barrel. If you guys are over the Morningside area, he's in that, over in that area. It's a very large truck. It carries 112 yards of debris. He could not get down some of the streets that you're speaking of because his
Well,
truck
I'm on
is
that
so
side,
large.
not that side.
Ma'am?
I said, I'm not on that side.
Okay, I was just letting you know that different types of equipment are more
Right.
suitable. In the center of the city, there are a lot of power lines that have been affected by the ice storm that are hanging. Larger trucks can't get there. So we try to do it very systematically, put the equipment where we think it's going to be most relevant to pick up that debris that's there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on this? No. Okay. Next item. Item number 16 is discuss and take action on agreement on Neil Schaefer Chaitin to provide engineering service for utilities at Coxfield and surrounding areas.
First of all, I got too close. First of all, I wanted to just mention that the engineers are not here themselves. It's not a matter of disinterest, but one of the engineering firms is located in Fort Worth or thereabouts, and one's in Garland, and some of the roads over there are not real good, so they were concerned about safety travel, so their apologies for not being able to be here this evening. This is a 2-part engineering project, and different from the last utility engineering project we talked about, or a lot of engineering projects you talk about, because it's not a matter of we're going to start from point A and point B and build a water line and build a sewer line. In this case, there are a number of variables that we have to study and have to consider and make plans for. And not to go into a lot of the details, but for example, you have to be able to estimate flow so that you can estimate what size those lines need to be. And most of the work we were doing with the larger contract, we already know, because those are developed areas, what size the lines need to be, with very few exceptions. But in this case, you're talking about running a water line by 3.5 miles to the airport. If you build it for ultimate build out, that's maybe a 24-inch water line. But if you build a 24-inch water line right now all the way to the airport, there will not be adequate flow. The water won't run, and you'll get stagnant water in those lines. If you build it small so that it'll run right now, then when the airport area is developed, it won't work, and you'll end up having to replace it. Same thing with sewer, although even more so, because if sewer doesn't flow, it'll get septic and it'll destroy your lines, and it can cause TCEQ issues, Texas Commission on Environmental Quality issues, odor issues, and health issues. We've talked, of course, about lift stations. We know we have to have at least one lift station. Do we need 2? Do we need 3? Where's the best place to put them? We've talked about the possibility of connecting into Reno someday in the future. We've talked about acquiring utility lines from Lamar County Water District. So there's a lot of factors. We're all trying to figure out ways to get to as many residential customers as possible. We're not going to be able to pick up everybody out there, but we want to get all we can within reason. And so it's not a matter of just laying out a line and building it. It won't work that way. And so for that reason, there's an initial plan cost to be done, and as indicated here, the cost for that is $196,910. And again, that's all work that you would not have done on the big utility project. Then the actual engineering portion of it, which is comparable to what we've done before, the price for that is $600,175. That includes the typical stuff, the actual design, geotech work, surveying, bidding assistance, construction management, etc. And a second thing that's unique about this project is that it's going to need to be built in phases, and that's not what we originally talked about. We originally talked about let's build a water line out there and let's build a sewer line out there. But again, if you just do all of that right off the bat, it hydrologically won't work. The water won't flow, the sewer won't flow, you'll have issues. And so the design work that's going to be done, the plan work and the design work that will be done by Neil Schaefer, will have 3 phases: sewer in 3 phases, water in 3 phases. First phase for sewer is to examine the septic system and provide for a large septic system that will be able to handle a good bit of growth out there. Phase 2 would be to actually construct a sewer line that would go some distance south from the loop. And then phase 3 would be to connect that entire sewer line. Now, it may be that the study says build it all right now, but we won't know that. And it's unlikely, frankly, that the study is going to suggest that. My guess would be that the study is going to say, well, for 2014, if you build more than phase 1, you're probably going to have a sewer line that just doesn't work. Similarly, the water line is going to be planned in 3 phases, 1, 2, and 3. Phase 1 will provide water service to right away to the vet's office, the ball fields, some of that area just south of the loop. The second phase would go all the way to Airport Road and around Airport Road past the airport. And then the phase 3 would serve north of there. It may be that the recommendation is just to do phase 1, or maybe phase 1 and 2, or maybe phase 1, 2, and 3 with water. That's a little bit more likely. But again, that goes back to whether what we come up with. We're talking with Lamar County Water Supply District, when we talk to the City of Reno, or different kinds of options. So there's a lot of nebulous stuff there. I say all that to prepare you for 6 months down the road when we're talking about construction, that there may be a recommendation not to build all of one or the other or both, but also because it's unlikely that we'll end up needing to spend the entire amount of money that's included in this not to exceed contract. The original request, total request from Neil Schaefer, was $876,000. They have agreed to a lower price of $797,085, and that's what we recommend. But again, if you do approve this, and we're asking that you do tonight, it's a not to exceed amount. And what that means is if the study phase says that it doesn't make sense to build phase 2 and phase 3 of the sewer, they're not going to design phase 2 and phase 3 of the sewer. It's not going to do any good to spend that money. So it's almost impossible, I say almost, please make sure I said almost, that we would spend that whole 797,085. That is literally the maximum we could possibly spend if we build everything in the next year. And I just don't think, even though I think a majority of us would like us to build everything in the next year, it just won't work because of the low flows on water and sewer both. I hope that made sense. I was going kind of fast, but it's
Thank
late.
Mr. Wright, you and Ms. Lancaster were on it, so your comments.
We got quite a reduction in price. It's doubtful that all 3 phases will be done, as John said, and that would reduce this amount considerably.
Percentage-wise, what is
The original deal that they proposed was around 15% or something like that, and it's down about 13, provided we do all 3 phrases. If we do less than that, it'll be less.
Okay.
Is that what you understand?
Yes,
John?
sir. Yes, sir.
Ms. Lancaster,
I
your
agree
same
with
comment?
Yeah, I was pleased we were able to get the percentage down, and it's, it all depends on how much development, whether we go on all the way to 3 right away, but it's good that we have it planned for it.
If a septic tank will handle the situation, there's no point in spending money for overkill.
Mr. Jenkins.
It seems like that's a pretty good thing what they got going on right now.
Ms. Drake.
I just appreciate John and Sue negotiating to get it down for the city and for the citizens, and if they're satisfied with it.
Dr. Gross-Nichol.
This is kind of a bad facetious comment, but it sounds like we're building the bridge to nowhere. I mean, there's not enough water flow and sewer customers out there to support the flow of the project as envisioned, so it kind of makes you wonder.
And that's exactly what we're going to, by having it in phases, that's what we're going to avoid doing. We're going to find out, does this bridge make any sense yet? And we're assuming at least the the sewer part of the bridge is not going to work. Therefore, when we get to a 30% level, we're going to stop and say, one of these days, we hope to finish this, but not today.
That's the reason for the 3 phases.
For the 3 phases.
Okay. Right, that sounds good.
Mr. Frierson.
I don't have any comments or questions.
Okay. Does the council want to proceed with it? Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you again for the council member who were there and the staff that was there. With that said, we move on to item number 17. The time is 8:27 p.m. We convene into executive session pursuant to section 551.071 of Texas Government Code, consultation with the attorney to receive legal advice from city attorney about pending or contemplated litigation on or matters in which the duty of an attorney to his client under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of State Bar of Texas clearly conflict with this chapter as follows. Attorney request for waiver of conflict. Number 2 is section 551.074 of Texas Government Code to deliberate appointment, deployment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, disciplines, or dismissals of a public officer or employee, to hear a complaint or charge against an officer or employee as follows. City Manager, Public Works Director. Time is 8:27 p.m. and we'll go into executive session. Thank you. Do you have something to discuss? Yes. Okay. The time now is 9:22 p.m. We are out of the executive session. The discussion in the executive session was about the Public Works Director. There was some concern that the job was not posted yet. The city manager is being instructed, if I'm speaking for everyone on the council, that the job for the Public Works Director be posted at the earliest. Oh, I'm sorry. There was one other thing discussed. I forgot. There is a letter from Mr. Phil Smith about him representing the Paris Lakes Medical Center Development Project, and he wanted to be sure that there was no conflict of interest and the city was okay with it, since he has represented Economic Development Council before, that the city was okay with him representing the Paris Lake Development as their attorney at this point. And I'd like to ask everyone on the council if they're okay with it. So, Ms. Drake,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
anyone opposed to it? So you will authorize me to sign this letter on behalf of the council that we are okay with Mr. Phil Smith representing the Paris Lakes Development.
Does that need to be a motion?
Yeah, motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So I'm going to sign it and give it back to you. Item number 19 is consider and approve future events for the city council and or city staff pursuant to resolution number 2004-081. Anyone has any questions? No. Can I just ask one other thing of the city manager, please? Do all departments, if I'm going off the agenda, please stop me. Do all departments have department heads and deputies?
No.
Okay. Because does the reason why it came to my mind, does EMS have a deputy?
No, police and fire are the only two that have assistant directors or assistant chiefs.
Okay, and am I going off the agenda?
Too far.
Not too far.
Just gotta go fast, really fast.
So my next question is, because, okay, well, let's put it on the future. I don't want to do anything wrong. So let's put it on the future agenda. I just want to know about how much time does EMT director spend with EMT compared to others so that they're represented? Is he full-time? Because when I was looking at it, half his salary is being paid by IT and half his salary is being paid by EMS. So having said that, I don't want to discuss this any further without being an item. Or maybe you could just call me and tell me how does it work. Okay. Thank you.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
It's cold outside.
And I want to thank again everybody who was involved in this project of the iPad. So I'm going to thank myself for doing it too.
Thank you.